This is Hit and Run.
You know how this is played. I'll just give you my thoughts on some of the things going on in the world of sports and outside of sports as well, and we'll move it along quickly. Do you know that on this day in 1999, Mike Breen and Walt Clyde Frazier made their debut together on the MSG Network? 26 years later, they're still together, and on that day, that was also the debut of Latrell Sprewell as a New York Knick. All right, so one of the things that's coming out is, Jameis Winston was at the big media day for the Super Bowl and asked Saquon Barkley, where do you think I should sign? Jameis is a free agent, and Barkley said, well, the Giants need a quarterback. Oh, it's all well and good. That's kind of a cute line. I will tell you right now, no way if I'm the Giants do I want Jameis Winston. First of all, he's a goofball. Second of all, he's highly inconsistent. Why is that the guy that you would want? Absolutely no way do I want the Giants signing Jameis Winston. The things he said it's distracting. He's just out there. Not a bad guy. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. He's a goofball. I don't need my quarterback to be a goofball. Think about the great quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. How many of them are jokesters? How many of them are goofballs? Not many, if any. You think Patrick Mahomes is a goofball? No. Dan Marino wasn't a goofball. Peyton Manning, well, he turns out that he's got a great sense of humor. He wasn't a goofball. I mean, I need somebody who's locked in that their whole life is football. They can't be a goofball. I do not want Jameis Winston. All right, so the Yankees, with the signing of Tim Hill, which was a good signing because it completes what really should be a tremendous game-changing bullpen. They signed Tim Hill. And according to Cott's contracts, which keeps track of where everybody is, their payroll. The Yankee payroll is now at 304. The Cohen tax is 301. So I'm going to make this as clear as I can. If you're going to be over the tax by $2-3 million, then you should be over the tax by $15 million if it completes your team. Now, if they're planning on trading Marcus Stroman and eating enough salary that it gets them under 301, then I understand. So if 301 is the hill they want to die on, then I get it. Then we go into spring training with any combination of three guys to be the third baseman and Alex Jackson being the backup catcher. Great. Understand. If 301, you don't want to go over it for the third straight year and all the penalties that come with it, I understand. But if you're going to be a little bit over, then you got to be more than a little bit over. That's all there is to it. You've got to be more than a little bit over it. There's no other way to look at it. They can't look at it any other way. They shouldn't look at it any other way. I'd be very, very surprised and disappointed if they did. But my gut feeling is they'll get under 301. But you can't be at 304 and say, well, that's enough, because you're still going to suffer all the penalties. So there is something called Pacoda projections from Baseball Reference. And they will tell you they'll run a lot of simulations, what the team is going to end up with win-wise. So this is the American League East. The Yankees are the top team in the American League, and in the American League East, they're projected to win 89.7 games. Baltimore's at 88.9, so not that big a difference. Toronto at 84.2, Tampa Bay at 82, and Boston at 78.7. The second-place team in the American League in terms of win projections by Pacoda is 89. In the National League, Atlanta has a 91.9 projection. The Mets at 89.1, Philadelphia at 87.6, Washington 74.1, and Miami 62.1. The top team in Major League Baseball projection-wise by Pacoda, the Dodgers at 103.6, which is amazing. Amazing. Then Atlanta at 91.9. This one I don't get. They're usually right. Sometimes they're wrong, but they're usually right. This one jumps out at me a little bit. They have the Chicago Cubs projected at 90.5 wins, and then the Mets are at 89.7. So I thought I'd have some fun with that. And as for playoff odds percentage, they have the Dodgers 99.2% to make the playoffs, Atlanta 88.7, Chicago 87.1, the Mets at 80.1% to make the playoffs, and the Yankees at 77.6. And finally, this jumped out at me. There's still a lot of free agents out there. Think about the Yankees. They got to the World Series last year. They lost in 5 games to the Dodgers. 2 guys that played every game in the World Series and played huge roles on the Yankee team, Anthony Rizzo and Alex Verdugo, they don't have an offer They haven't had a bite from a team yet. These guys played major roles on a team that got to the World Series, and they can't find a job. I don't know what that says exactly. It tells you maybe that the Yankees overachieved because these guys don't have a job. Rizzo and Verdugo don't have a job. Amazing stuff. That's Hit and Run for today. We have another big show planned tomorrow. We're on from 1 to 3. You know the rules. You know the rules of engagement. That's the way it works. It's me and you. You're the co-host. You know the number. You could call in, be on hold until 1 o'clock tomorrow, or wait and enjoy Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg because they're coming up, and they've got a great show planned as well. So great guest today on the show. I really, really enjoyed it. Tyler Fulgham from ESPN Bet. We also had Doug Peterson, the Super Bowl winning head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, and then Mike Lupick. So great, great stuff. Coming up, Don, Hahn, and Rosenberg. In the words of Billy Joel, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I'm afraid it's time for goodbye again. See you, everybody. Hey, it may be the off season, but every season is Bigelow tea season. You know I'm picky about what I drink, especially on the days I have a show. One of the first things I do each day is reach for a mug full of Bigelow tea. I love the different flavor options, and it's perfect for someone who makes his living behind a microphone. Want to know what keeps me going? Look no further than my cup of Bigelow tea next to me in the studio. So grab a mug full of your favorite Bigelow tea and tea proudly. Bigelow tea, the official hot tea of the New York Yankees.
Thanks for listening to the Michael K. Show podcast.
You know what? Check yourself.
Hear more from Michael K. weekdays at 1 on 880 ESPN.
Suck it up and like it.
The ESPN New York app and your smart speakers.
I don't just stand on business, I live it. 24/7. Because you don't become a young entrepreneur by staying stagnant. Whether I'm chasing deals, networking, or taking calls from behind the wheel of my Toyota Crown, I'm always in motion. You may think launching a successful startup is enough to be satisfied, but me, I'm just getting started. It's a new day at Toyota, led by a new generation of drivers. And we want you to know one thing. You can't stop my drive. Toyota, let's go places.